If another podcast, book, course, certification, morning routine, planner, YouTube video, or productivity hack was going to fix your life, you would already be fixed by now. And I say that with all of the love in my heart. So for the people listening to this right now or watching on YouTube, I want you to sip on this. You're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not lacking information. You are overloaded with information, inundated with it. And yet somehow you still feel disconnected from the life you really want. Why? Because information and transformation are not the same thing. What if I told you we could change this? So let's talk about it. Welcome back to Sip on This, the show where we talk about love, life, careers, and the incessant self-help loop. If this is your first time joining me, welcome. I'm your host, Deirdre Haggerty. I'm an ICF certified coach and the founder of Coaching with Miss D, which offers life, relationship, and career coaching to help you align your values and vision for life. I am so excited you're joining me today to have a conversation, coffee or tea in hand, as we chat about life, careers, relationships, and all the little things that can shape who we are. I won't lecture you. I won't tell you what to do. It's just us in a coffee shop chatting about topics that make us laugh or drive us nuts, like breaking the self-help loop. So we live in a world completely obsessed with strategy. Everyone has a framework, a blueprint, a 4-step, 5-step process, a morning routine, a masterclass, a downloadable PDF that's going to change your life. And listen, I do too. And I love learning. I read constantly. I read fiction and nonfiction books. I listen to podcasts. I believe growth matters. All of these things helped me as I started my second act. I went to therapy for grief, and then after that, I started doing all of these things. And that's when I decided to become a coach. And when I became a coach, that's when I decided, I could use a coach too. Because at some point, growth can quietly become avoidance. And that's the part nobody wants to admit. That's when I realized, as I was learning how to be a coach and becoming certified, that I needed a coach too. Because sometimes we convince ourselves we're working on ourselves, and sure I was, when really we're just consuming more content, more advice, more motivation, without actually confronting the thing underneath it all. The fear, the uncertainty, the identity shift. Oof, yeah, all there. The decision we know we need to make. And this is especially true for high-functioning people. And I was a professional. I was an executive. I was also navigating midlife transitions. If you're these people, maybe you can relate to what I'm saying. Then there's the people who are intelligent, capable, and used to figuring out things on their own. You've built careers. You've raised families. You've handled crises. You've managed responsibilities. So naturally, your brain says, I should be able to solve this myself. And 100% so did I. And then when you can't, you assume you need more information. Another book, another strategy, another expert online telling you what to do, another way to meditate. But the issue usually isn't that you don't know enough. It's that you're disconnected from yourself. Because here's the truth. Most people already know what they need to do. They just don't trust themselves enough to do it. That's the real block. It's not the knowledge. It's the self-trust. You know the relationship is draining you. You know the job no longer fits. You know you've outgrown the version of yourself that you keep performing so well at. You know. But knowing and moving, completely two different things. No productivity system fixes that. That's why people stay stuck. And yes, it may be the most overused word in coaching, stuck in clarity. But there's truth in those two words, right? That's why you are staying stuck in this self-help loop. Oh, if I just listen to one more podcast. Oh, this one is new. Oh, this one is great. You're constantly searching. You're constantly preparing. You're constantly consuming without ever fully stepping into action. Why? Because action requires something strategy can't give you. Here's that word again. Clarity. Oh, another one I love. Alignment. But it's true. Accountability and support. And one of my clients was talking to somebody else who she recommended to me, and they were talking about how it was going, and she said, I just love the accountability. She has a tremendous business. She makes so much money at her business. She wants to take it to the next level. That's why she went back into coaching. She was already in coaching before and went back into it because she wanted more accountability to take her business to the next level. Support. Someone willing to challenge the stories that you keep telling yourself. And this is where coaching changes things. Not because a coach magically hands you answers. I will never do that. I've had it asked of me, and I will not do that. It's because a skilled coach helps you see what you cannot see from inside your own patterns. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you need somebody looking in to help. That's the difference. You cannot objectively view your own blind spots. None of us can. We all have narratives we've repeated so many times, they feel like facts. I'm too old. It's too late. I should just be grateful. What if I fail? What if people judge me? What if I leave and regret it? Okay. And eventually those thoughts stop sounding like fear and they start sounding like the truth, and you're listening to them. A good coach is interrupting that. Not with toxic positivity, not with empty motivation, not with just think positive. That doesn't work. But with reflection and challenge and perspective and clarity. It's the word again. Because clarity really does change everything. When people become clear, they stop overthinking. They stop listening to all the noise. They stop chasing every strategy online. They stop trying to become someone else. You're you. Embrace you. And they finally start making decisions from alignment instead of fear. And let me say something else that might be uncomfortable. Sometimes the endless search for strategy is actually protecting you from change. Change is hard. Change is difficult. People don't like change because researching feels productive. I want to write a book, but let me read about writing a book. Let me learn about writing a book. Let me join all these online groups about writing a book. Learning feels safe. Planning feels safe. But you got to be vulnerable. What happens with the action? Action changes your life. And change requires risk. It requires you to be vulnerable. So, if you've been sitting there thinking, why am I still not where I want to be? Maybe it's not because you need more information. Maybe you need support. Maybe you need guidance. Maybe you need someone to help you cut through the noise and finally hear yourself again. Because there comes a point where another podcast episode won't do it. Another inspirational quote won't do it. I'm telling you, I've been on LinkedIn so many years. I have seen the same quote over and over again with a different picture. Another book won't do it. It may help, but it's not going to fix it. At some point, you got to move. You have to move. That movement usually starts with honesty, and it creates momentum. Honesty about what's no longer working. What do you want? Honesty about what you actually want. And honesty about the fact that you may not get there alone. And that's okay. That's human. This is exactly the work I do with my clients, helping people move from confusion to clarity. from overthinking to action, from performing a life that looks really damn good, doesn't it? Look at how wonderful your life looks on Facebook. From doing that to building one that feels right on the inside. And then it'll feel right on the outside. So, if this episode is hitting something in you, if you're exhausted from endlessly searching but still feel that disconnect, maybe your next step is another strategy. Maybe it's support. I offer discovery calls, and they're free. And we can talk honestly about where you are, what's keeping you there, and what your next chapter would actually look like. Your second act isn't built through endless consumption. It's built through clarity, and then courage, and then confidence. Sip on that. Please share with someone who might need a coach today. And I would love it if you would give me a like, subscribe, visit coachingwithmissd.com for more resources. Until next time, keep sipping. Break that self-help loop with a coach. And remember to live your life as your authentic self, your version, no one else's.